The elusive snapping turtle. Native to North America, it glides gracefully through the water as if in a slow-motion ballet, using opposite front and back feet to maintain a straight line. They are shy and timid creatures, and sightings can be rare as they make every effort to avoid humans. If you are fortunate enough to spot one, you may see it grazing in the shallows on aquatic plants or searching the bottom for invertebrates or carrion. They are part of nature's sanitation crew that help us keep our ponds, lakes, and streams clean. Perfectly adapted to aquatic life with a built-in snorkel and eyes atop their head, they also hunt using an ambush technique. They bury themselves in the leaf litter or mud with their necks outstretched, waiting for small fish, amphibians, or snakes to swim within striking distance. Virtually unchanged in 90 million years and predating the dinosaurs, snapping turtles are so well adapted to their aquatic environment, the adults virtually never go on land. Occasionally, some can be seen hauling out on a log to soak up some sun, but it is rare. Adult females, however, must make an exception once each year. They are responsible for the procreation of the species and must leave the water to lay their eggs. This female is searching for a nest site. She is very selective when it comes to choosing a site. It must have all the qualities she is looking for. Preferably, it is located close to the water, but well above the flood zone. Has a soft, sandy composition that is easy to dig in, and a warm southern exposure to aid in the incubation process. As she plows the soil, looking for just the right spot, she will often dig several false nests along the way. This is a tactic intended to confuse future predators when they attempt to sniff out the real nest after she is gone. During this step of the process, she is very wary of any onlookers and will abandon her mission at the slightest hint of being watched. I know this because I have been observing and filming turtles using this spot for over 30 years, and each time I was detected, the turtle would retreat back to the water and then return the next day for another attempt. I was lucky to spot this female during the nest site selection step because they start at the crack of dawn to avoid night predators and to finish before the sun gets too hot. Without the protection of water, it can quickly overheat. Fortunately for me, I happened to be up at 5:30 a.m. and was able to capture the entire process. After the perfect spot is selected, the female starts digging the nest hole using her rear feet. Turtles will often urinate in the soil, so it clumps up and does not fall back into the hole after each scoop. As with all turtles, this is a slow process, so I will speed things up to better show the digging technique. Using extreme stealth and the local cover, I continue to move closer, and with the use of a telephoto lens, I was able to get a better view of the action. Being detected during this digging stage could still cause her to cancel her efforts and head back to water. I decided to change my position to a rear angle view in hopes that it would make it more difficult for her to see me. Closer and closer I crept. I had never been able to get this close before without being detected. To make matters worse, she was constantly pestered by mosquitoes during the entire process. The digging continued for another hour, and the hole was getting quite deep. When she stopped digging and braced one leg against the hole, with the other leg down in the hole, I was pretty sure she was about to start laying the eggs, so I moved in for a better view. My timing was perfect, and I was delighted to see the first egg pop out. This would be the first time I actually captured the egg laying on camera. When a female turtle starts laying her eggs, the process is past the point of no return. There is no longer the risk of scaring her off by being noticed, so I was able to move the camera right up close. The eggs were coming at regular intervals when some crows noticed what was going on. They made quite a fuss as they called to their friends in the distance, as if saying, "Hey guys, there's a turtle laying eggs over here. Dinner is served. Come and get it." I would imagine that had I not been there filming, it would have been a feeding frenzy, with the poor mother turtle watching helplessly as the crows gobbled up each egg as it was laid. Eventually, the crows move off, leaving the mother turtle in peace as she lays egg after egg. As each egg is laid in the back of the hole, with amazing dexterity, she uses her foot to gently scoop up the egg and push it to the front of the hole, making room for the next egg, and thus avoiding a pileup. A close-up look shows the muscular contractions, known as peristalsis, that move the eggs down the oviduct and out the cloaca. These contractions continue until all of the eggs have been laid. I'll increase the speed so the effect can be seen better. After all the eggs are out and a well-deserved rest, she must now undertake the arduous duty of backfilling the hole and covering the eggs. Alternating her rear feet, she skillfully pulls the excavated soil back into the hole. Keep in mind, this entire process is performed by feel, without her ever having even seen her own eggs. The backfilling goes on for another half hour, with a couple of rest breaks in between. I'll speed it up a little because turtles do things so excruciatingly slow. It's after 8 a.m. now, just about 3 hours into the process. The sun is getting hot, and she is exhausted from all the digging and egg laying. After a 5-minute rest, she puts the last finishing touches on her nest and musters up the strength to head back to the safety of the water and her sanctuary. And without looking back at her work, she heads out, exhausted from her ordeal. She is weak-kneed and can barely walk. Her legs are used to swimming, not walking, and she uses every last ounce of her energy to continue on. It's now when they truly look ancient. This scene has been playing out for millennia and seems to be a working strategy for the snapping turtle. Unfortunately, some populations are in decline due to the loss of habitat and increased road mortality. This is when she is most vulnerable to predation, and even though she knows it, she has run out of gas and must set down to rest. A few minutes later, she gets back up and is on her way. She is heading for the creek bank and is using the same exact path I have observed her and others use for decades. I'll speed things up to 4 times normal speed. It's at this point that they usually use the roll down the hill trick to get down this steep bank. You can almost feel her exuberance as she returns to the safety of the water. Note how high she sits in the water now. The void that is left inside her after laying her eggs makes her so buoyant that she cannot easily submerge now. It will take time for her body to adjust back to neutral buoyancy. Back at the nest, we can now get a look at her handiwork. We can see the actual nest, as well as the false nests that she made to confuse predators. The eggs will now begin the incubation period, and depending on ambient temperatures, could hatch anywhere from 5 to 2 months. In colder areas, hatchlings may winter over in the nest and emerge in the spring. Temperature also affects the sex of the hatchlings. Colder incubation temperatures result in more males, and higher temperatures result in more females. Warmer temperatures caused by climate change could throw off the natural balance, resulting in females that could have trouble finding mates. "95% of all snapping turtle eggs that are laid do not survive until hatching, and 6 days later, this nest became part of that statistic." Foxes, skunks, raccoons, coyotes, and crows are some of the predators that sniff out the eggs and make a meal of them before they hatch. The turtle's strategy is to produce more eggs than the predators can find. It may seem inefficient, but it plays into a bigger overall natural balance by transferring a vital food source created from the abundance of aquatic life to the land creatures that would not otherwise be able to access it. All is not lost, though. This nest has evaded the predators, and the hatchlings are making their way to the surface. Immediately upon surfacing, they instinctively make their way toward water. After a brief rest, the tiny hatchling continues on its exhausting journey. This is a dangerous time for the turtle, as herons and other predators are happy to pick it off on its way to the water. Of all the eggs that hatch out, only 1% will survive until sexual maturity, which occurs between 10 and 15 years, depending on the climate. After reaching maturity, the average lifespan of a snapping turtle is 30 to 40 years, with some reaching as much as 100 years old in perfect conditions. With the low egg and hatchling survival rate and such a long time to reach maturity, one can see how important each adult snapping turtle is to maintaining the population. Hopefully, after watching this video, the next time you are out in nature and are fortunate enough to see one of these fascinating and amazing creatures, you will not fear it or kill it. You will appreciate it and protect it. So turtles will be around for